We are taking success story from an amazing person. She was supposed to be here last weekend, but unfortunately, network did not do justice to our interview. So we had to bring her back because we need to hear some amazing story from amazing women across the globe. So, anyways, before we introduce our guests for today, obviously, let's quickly go for a short break. And that short break, we'll be having a tip, and the tip is for new parents. If you're a new parent, you just give birth, intending mothers, you're pregnant, about to give birth, or you just anyhow a new parent, though, this tip is for you how to stay healthy, how to stay happy, how to stay sane, because I know what it is waking up in the middle of the night to breastfeed your child. But anyways, this tip is for you, and right after the tip, I'll be coming back to introduce my guest and we'll start talking. We need to hear her success story. Until then, let's take this break. We'll be right back. Stay with us and don't go nowhere.
6 tips advice for a new parent. Parenting will test all your boundaries. Here are some parenting tips and advice that you may keep to have a positive perspective and approach certain situations with a can-do mindset. Your child isn't the only one who would grow. Plenty of folks, from experts to neighbors to strangers on the street, offer new parents nitty-gritty baby tips for getting the job done. But here's something a little different. Tips to help you thrive, grow, and truly enjoy your new and exciting journey as a parent. 1. Embrace the roller coaster. Many first-time parents get emotionally whiplashed, flipping between feeling like you're totally nailed this whole parenting thing to suddenly feeling utterly inept. But you know what? Everyone feels that way. I think it's helpful to think of yourself as the newest, shiniest link in an unbroken chain of successful parents that stretches back to the beginning of time. Be kind to yourself. If you're like many first-time parents who barely ever touched a newborn before you had your own, yet you think you should automatically be a baby care expert. Note, you are not an expert yet, and that's okay. One of the best things you can do for yourself right now is to be as supportive to yourself as you would be to your best friend. Get enough sleep as possible. If parenting is a big balloon of joy, exhaustion is the pin that pops it. Your sleep success can make or break your mood, your confidence, and your patience. Being sleep-starved can make you feel alone, incompetent, edgy, and cause serious accident and sickness. Accept all the help you can get. Never before in history has parents been expected to care for their newborns all alone. In century past, we always have extended family living with us, or at least very close by, to help out with the children. But today, that village has almost vanished, leaving your parent home alone struggling to adapt. Whether it is postpartum dollar, a nanny, meal kit delivery, leaning on your friends and family, or looking for that extra set of hands, any of these things can go a long way in easing the parenting load. Remember that all babies cry. The birth of an infant is a glorious experience, but it is a rare parent who doesn't have episode of anxiety and self-doubt, especially if your new bundle has colic or simply cries more than you expected. But babies are just babies. Your bub is not crying at you because of you. They are not mad at you. Human babies are simply born too early and need a little more womb-like care for a few months. Be flexible, keep your sense of humor, and be present.
All right, welcome back. Now, those are amazing tips for new parents, and trust me, that's one of the best tips you could get anywhere. Anyways, let's just go over to introducing our guest, which is, her name is Chinenye Victory Titus. She is a purpose discovery coach. She's an author. She's an entrepreneur. She's also the founder of Consulting and a convener of Unveil Your Essence bootcamp. She's also a professional business automator, an accountant. She was recognized as the most inspiring lady by FYBLA Women's Forum in 2024, and she's also an empowerment advocate. Can we have Chinenye on the screen? Good morning. Good morning, Chinenye.
Good morning.
Finally, I get to see the pretty
to
face that we could not see last week. How are you doing today?
I'm excited to be here again. I'm fine.
Yeah. All right. So, the last time we could not really get into your success story or how you became this much of yourself in career and pursuing your dreams, achieving your purpose, of course, which never ends. It's something that we keep pursuing to be better each time and every day. So please share your story on how you got to where you are. Please leave no details out. In fact, one of the most interesting gists I like to hear about people's success story is that challenging part, that challenging story, that challenging area that you had to go through, and somehow there was this breakdown, there's this meltdown, but somehow you pulled through and became the better version of yourself. So please go ahead, we're listening.
All right. Once again, thank you for having me here. I'll tell a story. I got married at the age of 22, and when I got married before discovering my purpose. I got married without knowing what to do, but I just knew I got married. So when we got married, we relocated from where we were based to a new location. When we got to the new location, I was bored because I had this issue with associating. I didn't know how to go about it. So I was always lonely because my husband was already established. He was always going out for his different business meetings, different programs, and all that, while I'll be at home, bored, lonely. And it continued like that for some months until I had a rethink. I was like, I'm here for a purpose. Life is beyond getting married, giving birth to children, sitting at home, doing nothing. I need to find myself. That was when my quest for discovering my purpose and having my own identity started. It came out from the place of being lonely, being bored, always being sad. I got to discover that I need to get an identity for myself. I need to discover my purpose. I need to have an identity for myself. I remember one of those days when my husband was going out for his own business meeting. I was lonely. I was like, I asked him, can I follow you for your business meeting? He said I should just hold on and wait. Maybe the next business meeting we'll go together. That was the breaking limit for me. I was like, I'm tired and I need to find myself. So I started asking myself a lot of questions. One of the days I woke up in the night feeling sad, confused, asking myself, what is it that I can do? I remember when I was a child, there are a lot of memories. Something I told myself when I was little that I wanted to become. How do I go about it? How do I find myself? One of the days I remember telling myself, I love how to sew. I love females that sew. I think I'll be able to sew. That was how I started. I went to a fashion academy. I think I went for a few months. All of a sudden, I got to understand that the passion was no longer there. That was how I stopped learning that one. And I stopped learning how to sew. I moved to the next one. That period was my trial and error phase where I learned to do different things. I was just trying to pinpoint what I can do for myself for me to get my identity. I moved from learning how to sew to selling of gold jewelries. I remember I bought different set of gold jewelries and I started telling people about it. I sell gold jewelries. I remember talking to two different persons also, and they said they'll get back to me. That discouraged me. I was sad, and that was how I ended up using all the jewelries on myself. I moved from that and I started to learn pastries and to keep myself busy. But in all, I got to find out that while I was trying all these things, I still was not happy with myself because I didn't have an identity. Until one of the days I saw where they organized a teen program for young girls, where they organized a program for young girls. I started to attend the program. When I went there, I sat and I saw the resource person she was talking, and I knew this experience is something I've experienced. I can talk to young persons, I can share my story, and that was how I knew my purpose is about transforming life and through changing their mind. That was how I started talking to young girls, talking to people how to discover themselves, and that was the beginning of my purpose. And purpose doesn't change, but our assignment do change. Once we're done with that phase of our assignments, God will give us a different assignment. And one thing about our purpose is to transform life, to bless humanity, and to make us for us to give out value to people. So this is what brought about my quest for purpose and my struggles and how I became the person I am today.
Interested in a particular side, and that was when you said when you got married at 22 you found it very difficult to associate yourself with people and to understand what you needed to do, but you just knew you had a purpose and you needed to fulfill that purpose. So first I want to ask is, how did you now get, because trust me, for you to even understand that you need to go out there and get your purpose driven, you must have definitely sorted your social issues. So tell me, how did you sort your social issues and got to the point of, okay, this is how I want my purpose to be driven. I have to meet this person, I have to talk to this person, I have to keep trying, because you did business, it wasn't working, you did other things, it wasn't working. So I know before you could start a business, you must have spoken to a lot of people. And for someone who is probably just getting out of the box of, I need to talk to people, I can't do this alone, it means you had to start talking to a lot of people, not just a particular people. Because if you had just gone into business and business was working for you, you'd have just stayed right there with the same set of people that you have met, and learn to communicate with that set of people or more people in that sector. But now you had to move from one business, one thing to another. So it means you had to do a lot of social networking aside from you having the money. So how did you first get out of the box of, okay, I need to start talking to people, I need people around me, and from then moving on to different things to be able to get to where you are right now and still communicating with people even till now? I don't know, do you still have that social thing? Because sometimes I feel like there are some persons that no matter how much they want to get out there and talk to people, they just prefer to talk to some certain people they already know. They don't want to even expand further. They don't want to do all those social networking. They are cool where they are and they feel better. So how did you go about it?
Okay. I got to understand that I needed to change my mindset. That was the beginning phase of it. I changed my mindset. I told myself that I needed people for me to go far. I needed people for me to get what I want in life. I started by talking to people. I created a safe environment for myself. And one of the things that helped me, I joined a lot of association, women group, healthy women group. I joined different circles where we help ourselves grow, where we are not in competition with anyone. There is no judgment of they don't judge each other, we don't judge each other. Just a safe environment. I started to be free with myself. I started to open up. That's how I started conversing with people. I started communicating with people. I started reaching out to people.
Good, started reaching out to people. I love that part. So let's talk about your consulting, um, you know, business. I'll put it that way. Naya Consulting. How did you get there? And we would like to even know what you actually consult for. Yes, I know purpose-driven coach and all of that, but we would like to know, how did you get to saying that, aside from, because I could still see you're still an entrepreneur, it means that you never left business per se. You just wanted more. You just felt that business was just too little for you to achieve. You needed more. So how did you decide that, okay, this is what I want to do and I want to coin it Naya Consulting because this is all I do? And what is the consulting about basically?
Okay. Layer Consulting is a firm that has to do with people consulting me on different issues. First of all, based on this purpose issue, people coming to me, there are a lot of people that up to now, they don't know their bearing, they don't know what to do with themselves. So when I started gradually, I started getting to know people. People started reaching out to me on what to do, how to go about it. That was what birthed Naya Consulting. And also I'm into automating of businesses. software and software installation, automating business from manual paperwork to invoices. So I joined the NEA consulting has to do with discovering purpose and also in alignment with automating of businesses. I also, when you are trying to make way, you must give out value. You have to be productive. And in helping young girls discover themselves, there are some persons that even after you explain, you after speaking to them, they also need financial help. They also need a starting point. So the Naya Consulting has to do with helping young ladies discover themselves, and also a part of my business that has to do with automating of software, changing in normal manual invoice to software to help business be able to get their debits, their sales, their credits, and make their business smooth and running.
I would like to ask now, taking that you have consulting, a consulting firm that has to do with people, I think I would just put it in summary as people who are really searching for their true self. They want to know who they really are and be there, because I think it is only when you get to know who you truly are and you are at it and being your best at it, I think that's where you derive the most happiness or pleasure that you would ever want as a human being. And I think that just completes you, and that's, trust me, when it completes you, I feel like it attracts every positivity, attracts a lot of people, and that's when it's so easy for you to even social network or network to people without even needing to go outside. You could be in the confinement of your office or your house, and because you feel so complete, and people would always sense it. People who need somebody like you, people who want to be like you, naturally get attracted to you because that's how they want to be. So I'm going to ask this, for people who want to discover their true self, as a coach, what are the steps that they need to take? I do us the pleasure of probably explaining by examples how they can actually put in these steps to play so that they can really get, because I found out a lot of people, when you tell them, let's take for example, maybe to discover yourself, you have to love yourself. Now some persons will be like, well, I love myself now. I eat, I dress well, I do what I need to do for myself. But some people do not understand that self-love is beyond just eating, dressing well. It's a lot more. It places value on yourself, and I think that's the way people can really value you. So you just probably help cite an example so people can really understand those steps and be able to put it into practice so that they can actually rediscover themselves and understand the purpose that they should be fulfilling to be happy.
Okay. Now, one thing about purpose is that you have to understand that you cannot discover purpose outside God, because He is the originator of purpose. There are so many catalysts on how to discover your purpose in life. One of them is from the place of pain. You get to understand that a lot of people, we all have stories to tell, whether good or bad story to tell. And God allows us to pass through certain situations. And when we are done with that situation, we gain authority in that particular area to bring others out. So one of the one way to discover your purpose is through your pain, through those things you faced and you overcame them, those challenges that you're able to win, those battles, those things you fought and you won. You see yourself helping others from that particular challenge. You are bringing others out. And a product cannot tell you why it was created except a manufacturer tells you why a product is created. And when I was in my transition phase, trying to discover myself, one thing I did, I always went back to God, asking Him questions. I know you created me for a purpose, and I am not a waste and I am not a mistake. You have a reason why I am here. So those periods I'll be asking God, what is it that you want me to do for myself? First and foremost, you have to go back to God because He is the originator of purpose. You can't find it outside God. No matter how you struggle to discover yourself, you must first of all ask God about it. The second way to discover your purpose is from the place of pain. Like I said, anything you are able to overcome, any setback, any challenge, whether good or bad story that you have, that you can help others out of it. That's the catalyst to discovering your purpose. Another way you can be able to discover yourself is your potentials, those inherent abilities that you have, that you don't struggle with it. It is already inside of you. You don't struggle with it, your gift, your talent, you don't struggle with it. Those are the things that help you to amplify your purpose. Another way in which you can discover your purpose is your passion. What are you passionate about? If you're asked to write a book about anything, what can you write without struggling? What is it that you can write about? Or if you are being called upon at the middle of the night to ask you what is that thing that you love doing? What will you say? What are you passionate about? And there are sometimes where we get confused about what we want to do. We can actually discover ourselves from, let's say, your friends. There are times where your friends, your people, your close pals, your family will tell you, you're very good at this particular thing. You are very good at this thing. Can you actually concentrate on it? I've seen a lot of people that discover their purpose from kill time job, those jobs that they try to do to while away time, just job they try to do to just they are bored, they just want to do something. From the place of doing it, they tend to grow and they tend to develop themselves and grow. And I want us to understand that purpose is not just a destination, it is an ongoing process. That it doesn't it's the end of a purpose is the death of a person. But purpose is not a destination, it is something that we do continuously, and while doing it is a transition period. Purpose don't change, but it is the assignment. Our assignment do change, but purpose itself cannot change. When you're done with a particular assignment, you move to the next assignment. And in discovering your purpose, you need to understand that purpose is tied to a location. There's no way you flourish in the wrong location. You need to know where you're supposed to be. You need to know when you are supposed to be at that particular place for you to be able to fulfill your purpose. Staying in the wrong place and trying to discover yourself will not allow you to flourish. But if you try to locate where you're supposed to be and try to fulfill your purpose, that's when you begin to flourish. And when discovering your purpose, it is not that you discover yourself. And I see a lot of people that after they discover their purpose, they just tend to relax and sit at home. They don't want to do anything in as much as they've discovered themselves. No. Purpose is something that once you discover your purpose, you need to keep improving yourself. You need to keep developing yourself. You need to keep moving ahead. You don't sit down. You don't stay reluctant because you've discovered what you're supposed to do. Your purpose is supposed to help you bless life. Your purpose is supposed to bless humanity, it's supposed to give value to others. And first of all, you need to be valuable yourself because you cannot give what you don't have. When you discover your purpose, you are supposed to continue. You are supposed to continue working on yourself. You need to grow yourself. You need to take your growth intentionally because if you don't grow, there's no way somebody that has discovered purpose will not evolve. If you don't keep improving yourself, you'll be outdated. So you can discover your purpose from God. You can discover your purpose from the place of pain. You can discover your purpose from your potential. You can discover your purpose from your passion. You can discover your purpose from your kill time job. For your kill time job, those jobs you normally do to while away time. With it, you can also discover your purpose from there.
All right, thank you very much for that very outstanding few steps that every woman needs to take to rediscover herself. So while we still have you, of course, you're still sitting pretty where you are. We want to just go for a short break. Let's have a little bit of some rest and let's educate some of our women with some few tips that would help them, to be better. So let's quickly go for a tip on how to save money. Like I said, this time around when we bring her back, we'll be talking about our entrepreneurship business, how she got to where she is. And of course, she said she went into business and decided to go into something better because she feels she's better than that. So we need to know how she was able to stick to the business even after becoming what she wants to become, like truly becoming the exact thing that she said she would love to be. So let's quickly go on the tip to save money. We need to save money. The times are hard. The economy is not smiling and doesn't look like it could get better pretty soon. So we just need to save money. Some persons will say, well, I earn very little. Trust me, no matter how little you earn, you need to learn to save money. That way you help yourself during the rainy days and when there is an emergency. Not necessarily a bad emergency. It could be a good emergency. You need to, maybe you won a visa or a lottery, I don't know, something, and you just needed some quick cash to do some certain things so that you could get better at what you need to get. So, but anyway, this is just a tip to help you save money. So yes, let's take a break here, and right after that, we'll take the tip and a break again. We'll be back to the studio to continue with Chinenye to tell us the story on how she became a businesswoman. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
5 tips on how to save money. Saving is easier when you have a plan. Here are a few steps on how to save money. Step 1. Record your expenses. The first step to start saving money is figuring how much you spend. Keep track of all your expenses. That means every coffee, household item, and cash tip, as well as regular monthly bills. Record your expenses. However, it's easiest for you. A pencil and paper, a simple spreadsheet, or a free online spending tracker or app. Once you have your data, organize the numbers by categories such as gas, groceries, and mortgage, and total each amount. Use your credit card and bank statement to make sure you've included everything. Step 2. Include saving in your budget. Now that you know what you spend in a month, you can begin to create a budget. Your budget should show what your expenses are relative to your income, so that you can plan your spending and limit overspending. Be sure to factor in expenses that occur regularly but not every month, such as car maintenance. Include a savings category in your budget and aim to save an amount that initially feels comfortable to you. Plan on eventually increasing your savings by up to 15 to 20% of your income. Step 3. Find ways to cut spending. If you can't save as much as you'd like, it might be time to cut back on expenses. Identify non-essentials such as entertainment and dining out that you can spend less on. Look for ways to save on your fixed monthly expenses such as your car insurance or cell phone plan as well. Other ideas for trimming everyday expenses. Step 4. Set savings goals. One of the best ways to save money is to set a goal. Start by thinking about what you might want to save for, both in the short term, 1 to 3 years, and the long term, 4 or more years. Then estimate how much money you will need and how long it might take you to save it. Step 5. Determine your financial priorities. After your expenses and income, your goals are likely to have the biggest impact on how you allocate your savings. For example, if you know you're going to need to replace your car in the near future, you could start putting away money for one now. But be sure to remember long-term goals. It's important that planning for retirement doesn't take a backseat to shorter-term needs.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Women's Corner, and of course, those are the amazing tips to save money. So let's bring Chinenye back on the screen. Hi, Chinenye, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so all right, so my next question, let's talk about your business angle now. When you started your business, I need to ask, what was the most challenging? I know a lot of people have different challenges when it comes to business. Some would say is the funding, and some would say is getting the right connection to the business idea that you have. Probably you want to go into selling jewelries or wares. So you have to know the right source where you could get it at a very cheaper rate. Probably know those that, get them in containers or ship them over. A lot of people say I sell in wholesale, but the fact is some of them do not sell in wholesale, because the real people that sell in wholesale are the ones who make the shipments. So how was it for you to still be in business, to start the business first and still continue to be in the same business? And also, I think I would love to know what business you're into actually.
Okay. Presently now, I own a school. But I also do the NEA consulting work. I also do automating of businesses. The first 2 years of my business, I really struggled because that business had there are other persons that is also in the same line of business with me. And me coming into a business that is competitive, I also needed to blend with the environment and the business, and getting customers also was another problem for me. I had to realign myself and realign my vision. When I started my automating small businesses into normal software, I moved from different companies. I went to supermarket. I went to different outlets. I went to tell them about what I do. I reached out to the manager. I reached out to the people in charge, and most of them actually told me they will get back to me. Some actually did. They got back to me, while some did not. So from there, I started moving. Those that did not get back to me, I wasn't discouraged, but because I knew that's how that beginning phase would look like. And one of the things that actually helped me was that I trained myself to be able to deliver well in the job. Because one thing is not it's not just about getting a job, but it's about delivering well to retain your customers. Because if you deliver well, your old customers will still return back to you. When I started Chinenye consulting, moving in automation of businesses for software, most of the companies I reached out to, they had a lot of paperwork error. Most of their files were missing. And at times, there are some that actually want to know if you actually know what you are doing. They try to give you wrong record to see if you're able to maneuver it and get your way around it. But throughout that phase, what kept me going was that I was very good at what I was doing, and I had retaining customers, though the competition was much. But what helped me was that I was able to deliver well. Then when I started the school business, I struggled for the first 2 years getting new students, being able to being able to run the two together. But after 2 years, I was able to stabilize, putting everything together, making the management stand still.
Okay, so another interesting question I would like to ask is, based on your business, was there any sort of temptation? Maybe, I don't know, any form of temptation you came across and you really had to fight not to remain tempted or fall into the temptation? Was there anything like that? Because trust me, a lot of people that go into business, there'll be some persons that want to teach you the hanky-panky the wrong way into making the business blossoming, and they will always tell you, okay, you can always do this, forget, just to make it look easy. But somehow you stood strong and stayed focused not to toe that line. So what was the temptation, and how did you actually not get tempted, like fall into the temptation? So please share.
The other time I was actually tempted and I was discouraged because when I went to automate a business, I went there to automate their system and everything. After I was done automating, the system was set and everything, I got to notice that one of the laptop was actually missing. The sales rep did not actually bring the laptop out, and it runs concurrently. I did them systematically from the first laptop. Okay, in the settings that has different sales rep, I normally do them together. And after doing the installation, I teach the sales rep how to go about it. One of the days when I went to the outlets, I noticed that one of the laptop was no longer there. The laptop was missing. So I was sad and I was discouraged. I was like, this is actually a serious temptation. Imagine going to an outlet to work on their system and a laptop get missing. I was sad and discouraged, but at the end, God actually came through for me. We got to, through the CCTV camera, we were able to discover the laptop. So that was one of my breaking points where I was discouraged and I thought about giving up with the whole installation and everything. But actually, God came through for me.
Beautiful take. Anyways, well, before we let you go, I want you to generally, from your experience and expertise and loving what you do and doing it continuously with so much energy and passion, what advice will you give to other women out there, especially the young ones who probably get married at your same age and probably get confused at the early stage on what to do and how to go about it, or people who are already married at an early stage and probably they are growing and yet they feel like they have not gotten to where they needed to be? What advice you give to them, taking your story as a very, very good example, like they've heard?
Okay. I'm going to tell them to be, for a woman that got married before discovering her purpose, and after getting married, she's now trying to find her feet. I will tell her that she should be her number one motivation, because there are times where you need to motivate yourself. You need to tell yourself that you actually want to be more. Because if you wait for people to actually motivate you, encourage you, you might not get them. But if you're not your number one motivation, if you keep telling yourself that you're here for a reason, you are not a mistake, there are a lot of things you can do. It will keep you going. And you don't need to relax and settle for less. The fact that you're married, the fact that you have kids, the fact that you have a home doesn't mean that there's nothing more you can accomplish in life. There are a lot of things that women can do. There are a lot of things women can accomplish. You don't need to settle for less. You don't need to you don't need to be worked up by yourself that you are alone, your mates they've all passed. There's something God actually wants you to do, and you are the best person for that particular thing. You are the best person to fulfill your purpose. Nobody can fulfill your purpose for you. Nobody can do your assignment for you. God created you for a reason. Your life has a meaning. You need to start by telling yourself you are made for more. Then you think about what you're passionate about. Go back to the drawing board. Think of things that you can do for yourself. Think about things that you actually love. Think of what you're passionate about. Then you can start from there. Your purpose will not just come at a goal. You have to start from somewhere. You have to start from somewhere and make up your mind that you will be successful. Make up your mind that you will not settle for less. You have to change your mindset that you are a successful woman. You will not settle for less. And there are a lot of things you can accomplish.
Amazing. Thank you for that advice. You did absolutely well, and thank you for sharing your story and giving it as an example or a boost for women out there who should also do better from themselves. They should not give up. Even though you feel like you're comfortable where you are, you can actually be so much more. Thank you so much, Chinenye, for being on the show. We love you so much from all of us at Galaxy TV, and we appreciate you. But I would like to ask you, hope you enjoyed yourself on the show.
I did. I enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. And that's it from Chinenye. Of course, she did amazing well, telling us her story and advising women. And trust me, that's a real good boost for every young adult there trying to settle down, confused about what to do, getting married. It's not the first time a lot of women who are even older getting married and got into marriage, they feel lonely, they feel confused, they don't know what to do. Trust me, this episode is for you.
7 tips to avoid temptation. Pray for strength. To withstand temptation, we first need the will and a sincere desire to choose the right. It helps a lot if a situation in advance comes and then to choose the right thing. Another thing that helps is prayer. If we will pray for strength, seek out spiritual nourishment, and choose carefully where we hang out, then the Holy Ghost can be our constant companion to be with us and to warn us. Support each other. Reading the scriptures daily, praying, exercising self-control, and following the words of the prophet, we can resist temptation. Resisting temptation strengthens your faith and shows your commitment to Heavenly Father to keep the covenant you have made. Having friends at the church can also help us because we can support each other. It takes a lot of courage to say no. Surround yourself with people of value. The friends we keep fan the flame of our desires into manifestation. The scriptures have warned severely about not walking in the counsel of the ungodly, not sharing path with sinners, and not being in the company of those that scorn honorable living. Evidently, evil communication and association corrupts good manners. Grow into spiritual maturity. It finds expression in envy, divisions, and strife. It is important, therefore, to have a growth plan. A Christian that must avoid the sting of temptation and the wages of sin must purge himself fit for enlistment in kingdom activities. Believers must work hard to purify themselves. Learn to recognize temptation. Temptation is well tempting. It presents something to us as pleasant, through or bold. We want to give in because it presents something to us that pulls on our desires and presents us with something that seems good. Know yourself well. In the Christian life, we have many enemies, one of which is our old corrupt nature that lingers within us. It may seem odd, but we must make a study of ourselves. Personality, circumstances, disposition, and life experiences are all factors that make us more susceptible to certain kinds of temptations. Rest. We are more susceptible to temptation when we are exhausted. When we are tired, we are weakened and so more vulnerable to the deceptions of the devil. Rest is very important for our spirituality. We must be extra vigilant when tired, asking the Lord for extra strength to resist temptation.